You're born in the 26th century, on a quiet colony world no one will ever remember. The kind of place that exists just long enough to make a tragic backstory believable. You're 6 years old, small hands, soft voice, a head full of questions like, why is the sky blue? And can I have dessert? Then one night, a black van from the Office of Naval Intelligence parks outside your house, and suddenly, bedtime stories are replaced with government abductions. You don't see the men come in. You don't see the tranquilizer. You just remember your mom's voice echoing down the hallway, cut off mid-scream like someone hit mute on your entire childhood. When you wake up, you're in a metal room with other kids, all your same age, all terrified. It's like a daycare designed by Darth Vader. An officer steps in, smiles like he practiced it in a mirror, and says, your parents volunteered you to serve humanity, which is military code for, you've been drafted by people with zero chill. You raise your hand to ask a question, but realize no one's calling on you. The officer keeps talking, something about honor, destiny, the greater good. But all you hear is the quiet truth underneath it. You'll never see home again. Psychologically, this is traumatic imprinting, when your sense of safety fractures before your identity even forms. Your brain at that age learns one simple lesson: obey or suffer. And just like that, your childhood gets traded in for a lifetime warranty on obedience. They replace you with a clone, a flash-grown imitation designed to die in your place, so no one suspects a kidnapping. Your mother will bury a child who looks exactly like you. That's the first time you die, not in body, but in memory. You are now Candidate 073, part of the SPARTAN-II program, a classified experiment led by Dr. Catherine Halsey. She greets you with a smile that's all calculation. Her voice is soft, the kind of soft that cuts deeper than shouting. She tells you you're humanity's best hope. You believe her, because belief is the only thing that keeps you from screaming. The base smells of oil and metal. Every hallway echoes. Every step sounds like order. You don't walk, you march. You don't talk, you answer. You don't feel, you adapt. The first lesson they teach you isn't how to fight, it's how to forget. Your new home is an underground base on Reach. There's no sky here, only white lights and gray walls and drills that never stop. Every day begins at 0500. Run, fight, bleed, repeat. When you fall behind, you're punished. When you show compassion, you're corrected. The instructors call it conditioning. You call it growing up. They train you to win at everything: chess, war games, survival, marksmanship. The air always smells like metal and bleach. Your boots leave ghosts in the dirt, the same path traced so many times the earth seems to remember you. They don't just correct your aim, they correct your posture, your breathing, your hesitation. They file away your softness until you no longer recognize it. You're not growing into a soldier, you're being sculpted into a weapon, polished, precise, and hollowed out. You learn how to break bones like equations, how to read a human body as a list of vulnerabilities, how to kill without the tremor of conscience. You learn to shut down the flicker in your eyes before it betrays you. You learn that mercy is a form of weakness, and weakness is a kind of death. Every night, you stare at the ceiling and replay the drills, the way one might replay a prayer, not to find comfort, but to make sure the words still belong to you. That's emotional suppression, a learned survival strategy that turns pain into data, fear into calculation, love into liability. You stop feeling to function. You stop remembering to remain loyal. And somewhere in that silence, you stop being someone and become something. When you're 14, they tell you about the augmentation's muscle weaving, skeletal reinforcement, neural enhancement. Half of you will die in the process. They don't say that out loud, but you see it in the doctor's eyes. You watch your friends convulse on the tables. You hear bones snap like glass. You smell the sterile mix of blood and antiseptic. Out of 75 children, 30 survive. You're one of them. You should feel lucky. You don't. Because luck doesn't explain why your body feels alien now, why your reflection looks older, harder, hollowed out. You were designed for efficiency, not empathy. And when you take your first steps post-surgery, the instructors call you superhuman. But you know better. You're not more than human. You're what happens when humanity is reprogrammed for war. They put you in armor, MJOLNIR, titanium, polymer, neural-linked exoskeleton. Basically, a walking tank powered by your spinal cord and childhood trauma. They tell you it's the pinnacle of human engineering. You tell yourself it's just gear. But when they bolt half a ton of metal to your skeleton, you start to realize this isn't equipment. It's adoption paperwork for a second body. It amplifies strength, reflexes, endurance. You can flip a car now. Not that you ever get to drive one, but it also seals you in. The moment that helmet locks, you hear it. That low, constant hum like an electric prayer. Your breathing becomes system noise. Your heart rate, a line of code. You flex, and the suit flexes back, just enough to remind you that it's the one allowing you to move. You're no longer a person in armor. You're an armor with a person inside. The suit hums with life, like a second skin that refuses to let you breathe on your own. You weigh half a ton now, yet move faster than thought. It's like living in a mech suit that read your diary, decided you were too soft, and took custody of your motor functions. And when your visor slides down, it's like a curtain call. Whatever you were stays backstage. The audience gets Spartan, a title, not a name. A brand name of bravery, pre-polished, mass-produced, and emotionally unavailable. Psychologically, this is identity foreclosure. When who you are gets swapped out for who you're supposed to be, your identity becomes an occupational hazard. There's no I only the mission, no weekends, no personality, just objectives, synced calendars, and a suspiciously robotic sense of calm. You become the human version of a locked phone, high-functioning, unbreakable, but good luck accessing whatever's still inside. Then the Covenant arrives, aliens united by religion, armed with plasma, zealotry, and questionable fashion choices. And just like that, humanity's greatest secret project gets its purpose. A galaxy-wide, we told you so. They burn through colonies like wildfire. Every transmission ends mid-scream. You don't even know what the fight's about anymore. You just know it's finally your turn to prove the investment was worth it. And suddenly, the war you were built for finds you. You're 15 when you deploy for the first time. 15. Most kids your age are failing algebra or arguing about curfews. You're dropping from orbit with a rifle the size of a bicycle. The planet's called Harvest. Used to be all farmland and blue sky. Now it's a barbecue pit for souls. Cities turned to glass. Oceans boiled to vapor. The smell of everything burned into one scent. The aftertaste of extinction. Your drop pod rattles like a tin can full of prayers. The hatch opens, and heat punches you in the chest. The ground below isn't ground anymore, just slag, ash, and memory. You hit the dirt running. You don't think, you react. Your heads-up display floods with red markers, hostiles, heat signatures, and something labeled hope that's already offline. Plasma bolts scream through the air, melting stone like butter. A teammate shouts something. You don't catch it. Another vanishes in a flash of blue. No body, no goodbye, just particle confetti. You move without thinking. Your armor moves first. Your brain is a few milliseconds behind, just enough to watch what your body's already done. You kill because stopping means dying. You shoot, reload, breathe, in that order. You're efficient, not brave. And that's automaticity of trauma. Your nervous system learns to survive before your morality even boots up. Your instincts file for power of attorney over your soul. When the smoke finally settles, you're alive. Half your squad isn't. You're not sure what winning means anymore. You stare at the glassed horizon and feel nothing. Because nothing is safer than something. The mission report calls it acceptable loss. You call it normal. Because when every day looks like this, normal starts to mean still breathing. You keep fighting, planet after planet, battle after battle. Your kills stack up like tally marks on a forgotten wall. You don't sleep much anymore. When you do, you dream of faces you can't name. The program called them teammates. Your brain calls them ghosts. And that's the cost of moral injury. When the things you must do to survive violate the parts of you that make you human. Years later, they start creating new Spartans. The Spartan-III project. Cheaper, faster, more cost-effective. Because apparently, child soldiers are fine as long as they fit the budget. They call them assets. You call them what they are. Kids with grenades. Half your age, twice your enthusiasm, trained to sprint face first into death like it's extra credit. Cheaper, disposable, children again, trained to die faster and cheaper in bulk. The military found a way to make heroism a subscription service. You remember what it felt like to be them, small, scared, and trying to act like you weren't. You want to tell them it doesn't get easier, that the armor never stops feeling heavy, that the silence after battle is louder than any gunfire. But you say nothing, because compassion is inefficiency, and inefficiency gets people killed. So you nod when the officers talk about acceptable attrition, and pretend it doesn't sound like a funeral with better lighting. That's cognitive dissonance, when your empathy collides head-on with your indoctrination. When your conscience whispers, "This is wrong," and the system replies, "Then be better at it." You can't fix it, so you rationalize it. You tell yourself obedience is morality, that following orders is the same as doing good. Because in the UNSC, guilt is a luxury item, and you stopped affording that a long time ago. You meet John 117, the Master Chief, a living legend. You see what you could have been if faith in the system was pure enough. He doesn't question. He just does. And part of you envies that, because thinking hurts more than dying. You serve under him once, maybe twice. He says little. But when he looks at you, you feel the weight of everything you've lost reflected in his silence. He's not a man. He's what's left when purpose replaces soul. Then Reach falls. You see it from orbit, the Covenant glassing the surface, turning soil into molten mirrors. Millions die, billions over time. You watch the planet that raised you melt away. Every dorm, every training field, every friend's grave, gone. And for the first time, you feel something break. Not bone, not armor, something deeper. You realize you were never saving humanity. You were delaying its extinction one bullet at a time. That's existential burnout. When the system you gave everything to reveals itself as indifferent to your sacrifice. The war drags on for decades. You keep fighting, but each mission feels more like penance than duty. You lose count of the battles. You lose count of yourself. Oni calls you a hero. The public calls you a myth. You're neither. You're a child who never grew up, trapped in armor built for someone who stopped dreaming. And then, silence. The war ends. The Covenant fractures. Peace, they call it. But no one knows what to do with you now. You don't know how to stop fighting. You don't know who to be without the mission. Psychologically, that's identity collapse, when the only version of yourself that ever existed was built for war. And now that war is gone, so are you. You visit the memorial one day, a field of names carved into steel, dozens of classmates, hundreds of Spartans. Each one died believing they were saving the world. Each one was just a number in a file. You reach out, touch the engraved letters of someone you knew. Your hand shakes, not from weakness, but from the memory your brain spent a lifetime burying. For a moment, you feel human again. And that hurts the most, because being human was the first thing they took from you. You stare up at the stars, the same stars you were trained to conquer, and you realize something quietly devastating. You were never meant to live long enough to ask who you are. That's why it sucks to be born a Spartan, not because you weren't strong enough, but because you were too strong to ever stop. Psychologically speaking, this is the ultimate paradox of engineered heroes. They save the world, but can never live in it. You weren't designed to retire. You were designed to die efficiently, quietly, usefully. And yet, here you are, alive in a universe that's moved on without you. Your reflection in the visor is all that's left. A ghost in armor, built for a war that already ended. Which part of being a Spartan hit you hardest? The training, the loss, or the silence after the war? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if your brain feels 80% heavier but 20% sharper. And hit subscribe if you're into ideas that stick, figures that sketch. Because even super soldiers break, and understanding why might be the most human thing left. Ready for your next system update? Tap here and keep playing smart.